Lesson 1.8 is going to take a deeper dive into percents. So in this prep, we're going to look more closely at what a percent is and how to work with them. There is reference pages and more videos in your homework. For number 1, it's giving you visualizations of what percent is. All right, so percent means per 100. So cent and 100 cents in a dollar, right? That kind of connection. And you're just counting the squares, right? It's a grid of 100, and your job is to count the squares so that it represents the percent. And here, which percent is shaded, which percent is not. And it goes on like that for the rest of the question. Number 2, you're comparing figures. So even though one has bigger squares and one has smaller squares, they both have 40 squares shaded. So the amount of shading is the same. So you're just visualizing percent isn't comparing actual values, it's comparing relative values. And then we have some common percents, decimals, fractions that we need to know. And it is helpful to memorize these, but you don't have to, as long as you can work your way through them. So 1 out of 10, remember percent means per 100. So we want to say 1 over, if I added 0 to both of these, that's 10%. Move the decimal twice, that'll be 0.1. And then you work your way backwards. Move the decimal twice to the other way, 20%. So that'll give me 20 over 100, but if I have to reduce that, 1 out of 5. Okay. And then 1/3 and 2/3 are some that are different. These are called repeating decimals. They go on forever and ever. So we round them. We round this to 33%, and then this one we round to 0.33. And it will usually tell you when to round. And 2/3 is 67%. So then 0.67 for the decimal. And like I had already referenced the cents for the dollar, same thing with penny. All right, penny is 1 out of 100, so it's 1 cent. So then 1%. Now, converting between percents and decimals, you start at that percent symbol, and you're going to move 2 decimal places to the right. So 0.45. Start at there's no percent, so start at the decimal. Move 2 places to the right to make it a percent. Here are these super common ones, so we want to make sure we can get number 6 correct, match them together. A quarter is 25 cents. All right, so you can kind of use your experience with money to help you with this. Now you might want to watch that video, the Finding a Whole, because it kind of helps you figure out what to do. But basically we're going to change that percent to a decimal, and we saw this with fractions, change it to a multiply, and you would take 0.20 times 160. Right, and these numbers might look different on yours, as they're going to change for different questions. We have some properties in math. Please read through this, the commutative property. That just means for adding and multiplying, you can move the numbers or letters around. It means the same thing. You cannot do that for division, but in division we have something called the reciprocal. So if we divide by 3, the reciprocal would be 1/3. So you're taking something and flipping it, basically, the reciprocal. So if I have 1/5 multiplying, then I would divide by 5.